Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you start a Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. My goodness. Obviously, we'll dive into talking about the end game, OKC choosing to foul up 3 on multiple possessions, but this is one of those games that just needs digesting. As an NBA fan, as a fan supporting one team or the other, to come away, the Denver Nuggets with a stolen Game 1 against the number 1 seed OKC Thunder on a game winner, basically down the entire third and fourth quarter, not having a lead until about 2 seconds left in the game. We need to digest that. So, as I've already kind of hinted, OKC in the fourth quarter were stagnant. They kind of got into the bonus midway through the fourth. OKC actually forced Denver to be in foul trouble very early on. Fouls was a big part of this game. If you want to try and guard Nikola Jokić, you're going to need 12 fouls. That's why you have Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein playing heavy minutes, and both of them, I know they were both on 4 at a point. Even Jokić was on his fifth. Yeah, this was a masterpiece of a game. Great tacticians, and let's start with Nikola Jokić. Okay, so 40 points, 20 rebounds. I'm here to tell you that OKC had a really good game plan against him. They played him really well straight up, doubling, forcing turnovers, uncharacteristic mistakes, as well as, you had your small guards like Caruso, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming out of nowhere for strips, steals, and blocks. But this man is just a whole weapon on offense. Like this did feel like Jokić versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC emptied 11 men onto the floor within about 13 minutes of game time. I think you could probably have tracked how many subs the Denver Nuggets did during this game. Just the polarity of what coaches are choosing to doing. Like going into the series, we knew the Nuggets struggle with their depth. Are they going to trust Peyton Watson? How does Westbrook look? Michael Porter Jr. throughout a series has continually been the guy who sits on the bench during the fourth quarter. And if you go back to the final play, you'll be very thankful that Aaron Gordon, basically on his Robert Horry playoff run, he's hit 2 game winners, let me think, in less than 4 games, maybe 3 games. I think that might have been game 5 when they were in, game 5, okay. Wow. First of all, I thought it was really interesting that OKC had decided to put Chet on Jokić as the primary matchup. They did show that Jokić was about 6 for 9 for field goal during the fourth quarter, but Chet was very incredible. Stayed up in his space, and this was a battle of the front court. Obviously, we can talk about Shai and Jamal Murray in a second, but like the amount of bruising, there's a lot of reviews, a lot of kind of challenges. I think OKC definitely got very adamant and they got too focused on trying to foul Nikola Jokić out of the game, which obviously makes sense. This guy played 40 plus minutes, and I've already told you his box score, and we know his impact, and we know how depleted Nuggets are on the offensive end when he's not on the court. It got to the point where OKC used their second challenge after a successful challenge earlier in the game on the off chance that they were going to foul Jokić out, but it was actually the players, the leader of the team, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that said, "Look, coaches, I don't think this is a challenge. Like, he was in the play, he thinks it was a foul, but it was the backbench that kind of said." Down the stretch, OKC just kind of chose this kind of poor decision making. I don't think people would be talking as much about the foul, like up 3 foul, maybe I think they were up 2 as well at points, as much if, for example, Chet Holmgren didn't miss both of his free throws and it led to a basket on the other end when there was no timeouts. On that final possession of the game, I did think Denver got quite lucky in the fact that there's a good amount of time left, at least 10 seconds. And basically, when they were inbounding the ball, they could take their time, set up, and then Russ runs along the right wing to find Aaron Gordon in a really weird kind of slot position along the 3-point line. And that man is just on fire. After losing his brother, he's been going on an absolute heater, being a great uncle. And to be honest, it couldn't happen for a better guy, a better team. So as much as me being maybe a fan of one versus the other, Nuggets earned this win. The Thunder basically kind of sold. I don't think it comes down to so much the fourth quarter and the free throws, but just not being able to execute on offense, basically within the last 3 minutes. They didn't have, I can't imagine that they had a field goal, maybe in the last 2.5 minutes, except the Shea breakaway dunk. Basically, it was inbounding, they run a stack action on the free throw, and they put Shea at the back, and then he basically cuts around Jamal Murray, has a brain fart, and leaves an open dunk. Which is great, but it's just the same thing as hitting 2 free throws, and Denver not having to stop the clock. Some things I definitely saw Denver doing defensively, like they were able to load up, but a lot of things OKC was doing against their defense very early on. You saw when Shea was basically skipping passes to the corners or through the wings. Basically when the defense was kind of in gap coverage, so that they could take away Shea's driving angles. He was very early on taking that away. Denver elected on defense to basically put Jokić on Dort, and basically I think Dort had about maybe 8-9 attempts, and he started off 0 for 5, and then had a couple kind of trail wide open left over by. I mean, we've talked about Jokić on the defensive end, and he's been picked on by the Clippers, but just sagging, giving up open threes. Obviously, he's going to be very tired from the 7-game series in LA, but that's something you can't do. It doesn't matter who it is on an NBA floor. If it's a wide open three, it's a bad shot to give up on the playoffs. Russell Westbrook made a really good adjustment in that case, because instead of putting Chet on Russ and maybe Ihart on Jokić, they elected to put Caruso on Russ and have Caruso as kind of a free safety, run around, cause havoc. And his hands were incredible this game. I think he had one of the first, I know he had at least 25 points, 5 steals, 2 blocks, and a few assists on the way, which has never been done in a playoff game, which is insane, like for a role player to step up in that way. But Russ kind of countered that later in the game just by cutting, being active, moving off the ball rather than kind of sitting still as kind of a target for them to cover. Another thing OKC did was, and to be honest, I think their switching and their defense coverage was as good as not as I've ever seen. Obviously, the defense wasn't good enough. You gave up too many points. But it's really hard to defend the Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokić pick and roll game. What they would do is there would be like a 3-man action with Jokić and Jamal. And what they would do is they would help or switch really early off of like Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, which I thought was really interesting. It took away any of the advantages that a dribble handoff or pick and roll was creating. But down the stretch, the Thunder just gave up a couple wide open threes for Jokić. He had 2 wide open threes where he just kind of missed them both, but just with his shot release, he's just able to get it off from anywhere in the court. Jalen Williams has already turned his Instagram to a black profile picture and turned off comments. This guy's just goofy. It's really funny how he can react to bad games. I think I don't really worry about him just because he was so good in the Memphis series and there was moments where he got downhill, but I think especially in that early fourth quarter and early second quarter when the Nuggets choose to rest Jokić, He just needs to continue to be aggressive. That's the times where you need to win those minutes. And OKC, I think, at least in the first half, they won those minutes by +5. You need to kill. Like, you need to take advantage of this. OKC basically had a lid on the rim from 3-point land in the start. It's incredible how every time the Nuggets get to the balls of the corner, they actually make a lot of their 3 points. They're actually leading the league in 3-point percentage from the corner, but they're lowest in the frequency. So if the Thunder choose to load up from a weak side from there, it'd be interesting to see if they skip and find that open man. But this was just the Nikola Jokić game. This is the Jokić has arrived. And you just kind of have to say that's all you can do. There was a couple tricks he was trying for sure. Like, you gotta kind of think from his perspective, right? Like, he is getting hounded, and I mean absolutely hounded, by at least 3, 4, 5 very handsy, physical Thunder players. You might have Isaiah Hartenstein as your man, Chet as a helper, and then you've got Alex Caruso coming in like a ninja every now and again, but you don't know. So you can understand why he would get frustrated. Some images of him coaching the team, which is just wild. Like, this guy is just nuts. But this is his arrival. And this is why he is, in my opinion, the best player in the world. And for that reason, this series actually reminds me of a series a couple years ago between the Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets, where, in my opinion, Kevin Durant was the best player in the world, and Giannis was the kind of guy on the championship team that he had to surpass to get to that level. I don't know if this is going to go to Game 7. Obviously, an upset in Game 1 at home could lead to something like that, but I kind of see that in this way, where Shea has to overcome Jokic is the best player in the world. He might be the MVP that season, but it's an amazing series. Like, I don't even want to mention Shea because he kind of just had a Shea game. A couple big threes. He had the 4-point play on Jamal Murray, Canada on Canada crime. Also see him just taking charge. Going into every time it gets to less than 35 seconds, going for 2-for-1s, slowing the pace down. I did find this game pretty hilarious because the amount of like back and forth, the kind of camera swivel was like watching a tennis match from the net rather than watching it straight on. The camera was just swiveling back and forth because the amount of loose turnovers back, and OKC wants to get in transition. Jokic is a phenomenal guy for leading the fast break. He'll run out early, cut middle, and when you have your big guys going for offensive rebounds and they're late, he's just going to kill you. He is amazing for being how big he is, for running up the floor and causing havoc. Just because every time he touches the ball, he's a threat. And when he's inbounding, it's quick go. If it's like an outlet, it's already up the floor. So OKC really have to pick up their transition defense. If there's anything I would see in these teams adjusting, I would see that Denver throw a lot more zone. OKC wasn't the best against it. I think they could have used Hartenstein more as a hub, as a passer. They definitely shrunk the floor against the Thunder's offense, but Thunder, obviously, this is expected. They tried to put Jokic in the pick and roll. Then the Nuggets started to pre-switch, put Aaron Gordon up there, which is a great guy you want switching onto Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But keeping Jokic out of the picture, I don't think we're going to see another game where the foul trouble is something like this. Like, this is just insane, like absolutely insane. But so excited for more stuff, and if you enjoy this content, make sure to kind of like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. But yeah, hope everyone has a good day and looking forward to game 2.